Like our video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.
Harry Kane scored twice, Jude Bellingham scored once, Marcus Rashford scored late to put it beyond doubt. England beat Croatia 4-2 in one of the most entertaining World Cup openers in years, a genuine throwback to 2018 when these same two nations met in a World Cup semifinal that English fans still talk about with a mixture of pride and heartbreak. And the moment that's dominating the conversation this morning isn't any of those 4 goals. It's the boos. At AT&T Stadium in Dallas, 22 minutes into the first half, the match stopped. Players walked to the sidelines, coaches jogged onto the pitch with tactical instructions, and the crowd, a stadium packed with England and Croatia supporters who had waited years for this match, who had paid significant money to be there, who had built their entire summer around this exact night, responded with a chorus of boos loud enough to be picked up clearly by the broadcast microphones. FIFA's mandatory hydration break had arrived, and the fans, for the first time this visibly at this tournament, told FIFA exactly what they thought of it. Here's where it gets pointed enough to actually matter. AT&T Stadium has a retractable roof. It was closed. The air conditioning was on. The stated reason for these breaks, extreme heat risk to players, did not apply inside that building on that night, and the fans noticed immediately. One supporter's reaction, shared widely online, captured the mood perfectly. Roof closed, air conditioners on, so why are they going on a hydration break? I hate this American World Cup. That sentence is worth sitting with because it's not really about water. It's about something this tournament has been promising and failing to deliver since the day it was awarded. Let's go back to the beginning of this promise, because the gap between what FIFA said this World Cup would be and what fans are actually experiencing has become the defining story of this tournament's opening week. When FIFA won the right to bring the World Cup back to North America, the language used by football's governing body was not modest. This would be the largest World Cup in history, 48 teams instead of 32, 104 matches instead of 64, 6 billion viewers projected, a 20% increase over Qatar, $11 billion in revenue, the greatest World Cup ever staged, in the words used repeatedly across FIFA's own promotional materials. Gianni Infantino has used variations of that phrase consistently: the biggest, the best, the most accessible, the most spectacular World Cup the sport has ever produced. And 1 week into the tournament, fans are actually talking about the ones FIFA didn't script. The hydration breaks were introduced with a genuine, defensible rationale. Researchers at Queen's University Belfast warned FIFA well over a year before the tournament that wet bulb globe temperature readings at several American host cities would exceed even the conditions Qatar avoided by moving its World Cup to winter. That's a real scientific concern. Players collapsing from heat exhaustion is a real risk. Nobody serious is arguing player safety should be ignored. But here's where things get interesting, and where the fans' anger actually has a foundation beyond simple impatience. Ian Wright, someone who spent decades as both a player and a broadcaster, someone who understands football's rhythms as well as anyone in the game, said it plainly while covering the tournament. He called the breaks another way of getting adverts into the game from an American point of view. He said FIFA has used player welfare as the justification, but that doesn't change what it actually is for him.
Whether or not you accept that as the full explanation, the optics are difficult to argue with. FIFA's broadcast partners in the United States are filling those 3-minute windows with advertising. The breaks divide every single match into 4 distinct quarters rather than 2 halves, a structural change to the basic shape of football, introduced at the same World Cup that for the first time in the tournament's 96-year history will also feature a full entertainment halftime show at the final. 2 changes, same direction, more commercial real estate built into the fabric of the matches themselves. It's worth noting, in fairness, that not every broadcaster is treating those breaks the same way. In the United Kingdom, the BBC doesn't run adverts at all and continued showing live stadium pictures through the stoppages. ITV considered selling ad space during the breaks, held talks with potential advertisers, and ultimately decided against it. So this isn't a uniform global cash grab in every market. Some broadcasters have chosen restraint. But the structural decision sits with FIFA, and the temptation it created was obvious enough that a major British broadcaster had to have an actual internal debate about whether to resist it. For some people watching at home, there's a genuinely practical upside being mentioned too. A chance to get up, make a drink, step away from the screen without missing a kick. Not everyone experiences this as pure imposition, but that's a different question from whether the policy makes sense applied identically in a closed air-conditioned dome as it does in open-air blistering heat. Those are not the same situation, and treating them identically is what fans in Dallas were actually booing. Now, here's where this connects to something bigger than one stoppage in one match. Because the hydration break controversy isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern that's been building since before the tournament even started, and the jersey controversies sit right alongside it. Just days before the tournament opened, FIFA ordered Egypt to remove 7 stars from their shirts, each one representing an Africa Cup of Nations title, 7 championships won across 6 decades, more continental titles than any other African nation has ever achieved. FIFA's reasoning was technical and consistent with their own regulations. Stars above a national crest are reserved, in FIFA's rulebook, for World Cup wins specifically. Egypt has never won a World Cup, so the stars came off, days before kickoff, with Puma scrambling to revise official kits already in production. Around the same time, Haiti was told their jersey violated FIFA's rules against political imagery. The original design, by manufacturer Saeda, depicted the Battle of Vertières, the decisive 1803 battle of the Haitian Revolution, the moment that secured Haiti's independence and made it the first nation in the world founded through a successful uprising against slavery. Saeda described it as a tribute, not a political statement. FIFA disagreed, and the jersey was withdrawn. Haiti's players had already worn it in a warm-up match against Peru. It became one of the most sought-after, talked-about kits in the build-up to the tournament, banned before it ever appeared in a competitive match. 2 different rulings, 2 different rationales, both technically defensible under FIFA's own written regulations, and both landing in the same compressed window before kickoff as stories about a governing body telling proud football nations what they are and aren't allowed to say about themselves on the one stage where the whole world is watching. None of these stories, the boos in Dallas, the stars removed from Egypt's crest, or the revolutionary imagery stripped from Haiti's jersey are catastrophic on their own. The tournament hasn't collapsed. The football, by every account, has been excellent. England and Croatia produced a genuine classic. Messi matched an all-time scoring record in his opening match. Norway marked their World Cup return with a statement win. There is no shortage of brilliant football to talk about. But the greatest World Cup ever was always going to be judged on more than goals scored. And 1 week in, the stories generating the most conversation are the ones where fans, pundits, and entire football nations feel that decisions are being made about their experience and their identity without them, in rooms they don't have access to, for reasons that sound reasonable on paper and land very differently in practice. A boo in a Dallas stadium with the roof closed is a small thing in isolation, but it's the kind of small thing that adds up. It joins the list alongside the ticket pricing complaints, the visa difficulties several teams have faced getting into host countries, and now the question of who gets to decide what a flag, a star, or a moment of national history actually means on a football jersey. What do you make of the hydration breaks at this point? Genuine safety measure? Commercial intrusion, or a bit of both depending on the venue? And does the Egypt and Haiti jersey situation feel like FIFA simply enforcing its own consistent rules, or something that deserved more flexibility given what those symbols actually represent to those countries? I'd be genuinely curious what you think. Leave it in the comments. I read every one. If you found this worth your time, a like helps more than you'd think. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of football conversation all the way through to the final in July. Football at this scale is never just a tournament, it's a moment in time. And 1 week in, 2026 is already proving to be a complicated one.